in order at this time. We have two items on the agenda. Is there any, since we have an entire board here tonight, is there any changes that we need to make to the agenda?
I make a motion that we consider Dixon's project proposal for the water tower.
Okay, anything else that we wish to add? Okay, we have a motion on the table to add to the agenda the consideration of the Dixon water tower proposal. Those in favor of adding it to the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, the first thing that we have on the agenda tonight is consideration of the purchase of replacement meters. We have discussed replacing, we've already got 40 meters on order or have them in our possession, whichever. We have approximately 100 meters that are dead total. And the discussion has been to order 80 more meters. And we will have both long meters and the dwarf meters, 7-inch meters in that order so that we can replace both sprinkler meters and the regular house meters. And the thinking is that way we would only have to go in the house one time instead of making 2 visits when the other meter fails. This says nothing whatsoever about the what we're doing with the census meters when they come out. It's just a matter of moving forward at this point in time to get the new meters in because Michael likes knocking on doors and going to each individual home that the meter does not work in and asking them to give him information. The fact is that it's a very time-consuming process for Woodhill to do. And the reason for tonight's meeting is simply so that if we agree to do this, that we can have these meters starting at the beginning of next quarter. We don't have to worry about the radio feeds to the tower. These are cell type meters. So for your consideration, I would make the suggestion that we go with the proposal of 80 new meters, Metron meters, and that we place the order immediately. It has nothing to do with the other, it has something to do with the repo solutions proposal that you should have received. Somehow these meters have to get into the homes and they aren't going to migrate there by themselves. But the first item would be to say that we're actually going to buy the meters and we'll go from there. Is there any type of motion?
I present a motion to buy the meters to replace the
Meters?
both the long and the short meters for to replace the broken census meters.
And we should buy some more census meters?
No more census meters.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Support.
Okay, further discussion?
Can I just add a couple?
Most certainly.
Yeah, the sprinkler meters, that the dual transmitter has been the one that's failed. Nearly all of them have failed. So it is a good idea to, when you go in and replace one, you're replacing both in the case of irrigation meters. So that's, I think we have one that hasn't failed yet. We expect that to happen. Also unfortunately expect this to continue as these transmitters or the batteries or whatever it is that's failing. So having extra meters available is a good idea. I think we recommended 113. 80 more would certainly give us the sufficient inventory to cover the needs. And the way Metron works is you can order these as you need them. So if we wanted to move ahead, if you authorize 80 more, we can purchase 30 or 40 or 20 as we need them rather than buy them all and have them sitting on the shelf. Unless the next proposal is to move quickly and accelerate the installation of those.
You might want to add that the subscription to the cell phone component starts the day that we receive the meters.
Yes, the day they ship is the day they ship, which is a 2-day ship. So essentially the same thing. So that's why we don't want to have these on the shelf unnecessarily. But if we do get this proposal to install them all in a very short period of time, having an additional 80 is a good idea. So I support that. I just recommend that we move forward.
At $385 each.
Correct.
Michael, question,
Yes.
so there's, how many sprinkler meters are not working?
I want to say 29.
Okay,
That's
so-
my ballpark. It's in that range. It's 29 or 30.
So the 80 that we're talking about, that includes the sprinkler as well?
Yes.
They're just, the only difference between the 2 meters is the length of the meters.
Correct. And we have had the case where we found about 3 meters that were not in your billing system. As people have sent me pictures of the meters in their house to get their bill adjusted, there's an extra meter that shows up in the picture. And it's like, well, that's one of the old brass ones, the brass meters that were originally. So we're cleaning that up. We've had 3. I expect we're going to get a couple more of those as we go through this process.
Okay, yes, just.
Yeah, so I know that the batteries have been failing on these, but in the last year that you've been working with us, I mean, what has been kind of like how many have failed or what's the rate, just roughly?
It's accelerating. I'd say we probably had 40 to 50 that have failed in the last year. And as I said, it's the dual transmitter is a transmitter that hooks to 2 meters and sends out 2 signals. That one seems to be the more common failure. Well, let's just say the rate of failure is about 98% on those, unfortunately. The other ones less so, but certainly when you have almost 20% of the meters in your system not transmitting, that creates that's a big number, especially since they're 4 years old.
But that's not just a question of the batteries failing?
The batteries are integrated and you can't just replace the battery. It's not swapping out a lithium ion D cell or whatever. It's all an integrated component. And there is no ability to touch read these as in the past. You remember the old meter reader would go up to your house and plug that in. Can't do that with these meters. They have to be physically read. And that means entering the home or your customer's been pretty good about it, but they're growing tired of constantly sending me a picture of their meter every 3 months. It will definitely improve your customer service, reduce the estimated bills, and more importantly, give you accurate billing as we clean that up. We can run the census meters that continue to work. We're going to keep those in place. And then the Metron meters, we can do 2 essentially billing files and integrate that and it will be transparent. So transparent to the customer.
Any further questions or comments? Okay, in that case, there is a motion in front of us to buy 80 Metron meters with cell communication to replace failed meters at the tune of $385 each. In favor, let's start with Mr. Westman. Aye.
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 Oh, aye.
Aye.
These were separate ayes. Yeah, that's how it, right, sorry.
Motion
No,
passes
it's-
7-0.
Habits from other.
Okay, next we have approved purchasing some meters. We need to look at how they're gonna get into the houses. We can't set them on the doorstep and have them read the next day. We had a Zoom presentation by it's called Meepo, that you should have a hard copy of the information.
And Tom is here if you want me to bring him on. He's on Zoom.
Yeah, if you would,
Okay.
please. The thought process is that the problem that we're currently experiencing is that it's a long drive from Fraser out to somebody's basement in Loch Alpine. So like Mike has said, people send him pictures of their meter. But when that doesn't get done, that means we've been estimating people's water bills. And a couple of them have gone back 3 years in terms of estimation. That means that we either owe these people money or they owe us money. And the sooner we get at least those people taken care of, better yet, all the people taken care of, the better off everybody is. We don't like people having surprises. So the discussion that we had was to replace the meters all within a very short span of time, meaning hopefully a couple weeks.
Oh, he
Tom?
was there. There.
Hi, Tom. Can you unmute? We can see you.
Yeah,
Tom, do you want to tell us about your proposal?
sure. Sure. It would be our intention to replace, let's just use 100 as a round number. It'd be our intention to replace all 100 meters within the span of a week to a week and a half, let's call it, depending on how successful we are that first week. If I can go into a little more detail. So like we would be making the outbound calls. We'd have our call center, reaching out to the customers. We'd send the mailing so that everybody's aware of it. Like all those efforts are part of, our service to you.
So, Tom, in our last phone conference, you said that you would be doing basically everything in terms of customer contact and scheduling and so on.
Yes, A to Z.
So how much you want to do this?
So I don't have the proposal in front of me, but I can pull it up if you give me a second.
No, it's $12,430.
That was a trick question, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's all inclusive to do 100 meters. Actually, I think it's to do 80 plus 33. So it's less than 100. It'll be 113, not the 120. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would look at it as more of like, let's call it a per piece, because there might be people that don't let us do this, right? I'm not saying that will happen or not. There might be people that say, hey, that doesn't work for me. I can't do this. I can't do that. No, I'm not letting you in my house. I already let them in my house. So that's one. So like we look at it as a per piece thing. So if we did 80 meters, it's going to be 80 times 110. If we did 800 meters, it's going to be 800 times 110. So
Okay.
just like this won't be let's call it a lump sum thing. We're not looking to charge you for anything we don't do.
Okay, as a board, we really have several alternatives. We could have F and V install them at the rate of 1 or 2 a week. Mike looked over his glasses at that proposal because that would only take 3 years to get to where we're going to be. Another alternative would be to hire Scioto Township's DPW people and have them do a dozen a weekend. And the third alternative is the proposal that you have in front of you tonight. And basically, it's a $12,500 proposal, 12, if he did them all and so on, $12,430 proposal.
So this would be for catch up, basically?
Yes, that would be to get us where we should be today.
Right, okay.
Yeah. In terms of improving beyond where we should be today, that horse has already gotten out of that barn.
Right.
So, John, the quantity under pricing, section 13, quantity 87-inch and 33 9-inch. Do we have all of those in stock or on order with this?
That's what you just approved the order that we will take. So it's going to take about 3 weeks to get those meters. So
Okay.
this would be after October 1st.
Tom, if we approve this contract tonight, and we get the meters in, say in 3 weeks, when would you be mobilized and how long would it take you to do 113 meters?
As long as we have, let's call it some kind of shipping confirmation that we're gonna get everything by October 15th, I'll just make up the date. Then we'll work with your team to make sure that we have the data migrated into our system. And we'll send the mailing out to all of these people by, let's call it the end of the month. So that this way we can beat, let's call it some cold weather, and get these done within a week, right? So like hypothetically, if we get a mailing out by October 1st, we're gonna want, the first week in November to get this done. And that'll give everybody a week to schedule, for us to report to you. Those that haven't scheduled, you could help us, let's call it gain access to people that haven't necessarily scheduled, maybe give a slight nudge.
Does that mean we break into their houses?
No, I don't have any intention on doing that, at least. That's not part of the contract, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't see it listed here.
Right.
So John, is there any incentive for the homeowners, to do this other than the fact that they would then not have to worry about surprise bills?
Right, estimated billing would go away and people would not have to have the inconvenience of either going down and reading the meter or taking a picture of the meter and emailing it to Mike. That's the only real incentive. In terms of invasiveness, if they've got 1 meter, I would think that 20 minutes. If they've got 2, probably 30. Assuming that everything's in the condition we thought it should be in.
Because I just recall how difficult it was to schedule people.
It was.
But that was COVID was one of the big problems.
Right.
People didn't want to see other people and we wouldn't be sitting here without our mask on.
But I agree, Patrick. I mean, it was exceptionally hard
It was,
Yeah.
for a lot, and I don't know if it was, if you have some ideas as a resident about what might, the
It's hard to
messaging.
schedule people, get people to answer any kind of mailing.
Well,
It really is.
there's another reason too, with the old brass meters, it had an impeller in it and they slowed down with time, therefore their readings were older.
Oh, that's right.
These, it doesn't make any difference whether or not the radio read works or not. They still read accurately.
Mhm.
It's just that they don't report.
That's right. Before there was a financial incentive.
Yeah.
Working against them.
Because they all knew their meters were 20 years old.
Yeah.
Mike?
Yes, I guess the incentive, and it's a good question because we had the same problem in another township during COVID. trying to get 1,600 meters installed, and it was not easy. Took about 3 years by the time we were finally done. I can say that I have talked to most of these customers that have had these estimated bills. I've got their email addresses. I could send out a preliminary email to them before Tom and just kind of tee it up and say, hey, we're moving forward. If you choose VPO or whoever, we can kind of tee that up and say, they will be contacting you. Here's the benefits. And here's some additional features you're going to get with these new meters, which is an app on your phone. LASA will have additional features where we can actually monitor usage a lot closer in real time. So there are some benefits. Not everybody takes advantage of them, but I can tell you on this side, it will definitely improve operations and make it very simple to solve billing questions. Right now, it's probably easily a half an hour job by the time you talk to somebody, they call you, by the time you get back to them, get the information, do the adjustment, send it out. It's a lot of wasted time.
And it's not what we hired Woodhill to
No,
do.
it's not what we signed up for, and it's been a lot, pretty much the main
Did we do the
focus.
same thing where we told you that we've got all new meters, it'll be easy?
Yes, yes, I do recall that. You said that. Simplest job ever, Mike. But I'm familiar with these kind of problems and definitely can work with the vendor and whoever and get you the address list, the contact information, the best ability we have. So try to make it simple.
Julie?
Yeah, I have a question. Tom, Jillian Carey here. So I'm assuming that it should be an easy swap. However, I do see you have some additional line items. There's nothing's marked here. So what happens if there is a problem, or could you foresee any type of issue, and would that be an extra charge?
I'm gonna suggest, so all of these additional line items, I'm gonna tell you are more boilerplate. In your case, I'm gonna suggest none of these will apply. The only potential for this applying, and I think we're gonna kind of be proactive with, as long as Metron delivers all these meters before we start, and we're not gonna stop and start, none of these are going to apply. Like, we're not gonna have to install meter couplings because you're gonna give us the right size meters. The meter flanges only apply to larger meters. We're not replacing any larger meters. Wire runs would only apply to, let's call it a census meter. We're not putting in a census meter. We're taking out a census meter. So none of these will really apply. Like the freeze pipe might apply, but I again, even in that instance, we probably try to, like, if a valve is not operable, we'll usually want to work with your team instead of, freezing pipe is like, let's call it the worst case scenario. I don't see any of these really applying to you. They're more, let's call it, part of our boilerplate stuff.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Jesse?
And these census meters were installed 4 years ago, so they're pretty much plug and play. As long as we have the right length, they should go. And I did actually went to somebody's house a couple weeks ago and took a look, and it looks pretty straightforward. And I don't think any of those additional things will apply for your situation.
Yep, I agree on that front.
The only time I could see any kind of issue would be if you find one of these meters that we don't have in the system.
The brass ones. Yep.
Yeah, if they go out there and they find there's only 1 meter on my work order, but now I have 2 meters in front of me. That could be the only time that would be the exception.
You still have a list of the people whose valves didn't work?
Yes,
4
we do.
years ago?
I just forwarded that to Mike.
Okay.
Right now. We have that list from the ASBIL list from the census installation, so we do have that listed. I don't know
Thank
what
you.
addresses you have.
On that list.
My house for sure.
That's why you remember.
We got one.
You can come and pinch off the pipe.
There's a dozen maybe,
Okay.
and that's over the whole 535 that we did. And
Not
initially,
necessarily
I just, this isn't tuned.
Okay, so we can get that to whoever, so they're aware of that.
Yeah.
And maybe the dozen don't apply because
Maybe they don't apply.
all of their meters are working.
Well, right, yeah, that's what I don't know.
That's
So I sent you that
cross-reference.
list so you can cross-reference.
I
that.
do. I do.
Jessica, you have a comment?
Sure, a question for Tom. So for how easy will it be for people to schedule? Will they be able to do it over the phone? Will they have to create a username and a password and go into a new portal? Well-
So the quick answer is it's gonna be easy. So we have a call center that can take calls. We're gonna give like a custom URL that the resident can go to if they, like, let's say they don't want to make a phone call. Let's say they want to do this at midnight. They can go to a URL that's going to be custom to this project. That's going to give them availability on the exact days that we're there. There will not be logging in or anything like that. They'll have to give their information just because I'll have to verify that they're the ones that are making the appointment, let's say. But besides that, no, there's no logging in. And then there's some other people that like to send an email and say, hey, what do you have open for me? So those are the three ways typically that people schedule.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Other questions? Comments? Motion?
I propose we accept the motion to install the meters for the price of $110 per house.
I support.
More comments? Seeing no discussion, those in favor of hiring Vipro Solutions to install the 113 meters at the tune of $110 a piece. Roll call start with Andrea.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Tom.
Appreciate everybody's time.
Tom, I'll reach out to you soon, or you can reach out to me, and Ed and I will coordinate his information.
No problem.
This thing kicked off.
Thanks for everyone's time. Have a great night.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, we have one more item for consideration. We received, did everyone get the
I sent Dixon
Dixon?
to you. I don't know if it got sent to everybody
I
else.
don't recall receiving it.
The 37,000?
Right.
I think that number would ring a bell with me, but it doesn't.
Okay, well, we have it on the agenda, but I think you need to did you get a copy of it?
I did not.
Oh,
I got a copy of it.
can you send it to Jess right now?
Apologies, the Dixon to draw up the specs and bid for the tower paint?
Yes, that.
Yeah,
I've got it.
Okay.
I apologize, it came in at the end of July, right before that.
Oh, and we've been dealing with Dixon for SIO, so I may have,
Mix them up.
for having our water tower, power wash and painted this, I think they began on Saturday.
Anyways, they wanted to get this going is so it could get inspected and find out if we need any further repairs to the tower before things start.
how
Everybody's.
did they do that inspection before they start?
I'm sorry.
I'll try to get it up on the screen if you want to give an intro.
Right, okay, so the scope they're basically bidding for is to start the project up and they're going to go and inspect the tower and make sure all the parts work and take it to the state and see if the state wants anything added and or deleted, because things change. For the rules for the water towers. And the last time in Dexter, we did the water tower. The project got delayed 2 years because the state of Michigan added further requirements, and then we had to come up with money for it. But hopefully there won't be any. Hopefully, this will be smooth and there won't be any further repairs that we need. I know that Neil was concerned about the mud valves, and so was Brandon. so they want to look at those for sure, but I don't know if there's anything else on there that's gonna need updating.
Well, there was, it's a seal on the, I don't know what to call a manhole cover, on the top that, wasn't something that existed, when it was last inspected.
Okay,
And there was one other valve, I believe, that, had a problem besides the mud valve.
okay. Well, you know more than I
They
do.
were all fairly minor and they were, basically delayed or maintenance items that we, didn't have to do that day. Oh, there's a screen over some vent or something. Anything else, Ed, do you recall?
No, we basically deferred that list of repairs until the next big project. I think is what's happening. I guess I didn't see that report either, that.
Does that include cleaning and spraying and painting, repainting it, or?
We're talking about doing all that.
Right,
There you go.
there it is.
Um,
Yes, I know. Thank you, Rob. I'm not gonna be able to make that happen right now, Rob. Thank you. So yeah, we're just able to view it here in the room. People at home won't be able to see it. We're looking at a proposal from Dixon Engineering and Inspection Services. 37,300.
And you probably read that paragraph about what the specs are. So technical specifications, project administration, pre-construction meeting, miscellaneous meetings, weld observations, exterior coating observations, dry interior observations, mixer installation observations, cathodic protection observations, and 1-year warranty for the tower. Some of those may not apply to, our tower, but they stuck everything on there that they thought that, might possibly apply.
Well, they know our tower as well as anybody, better than anybody
Yeah,
else. They've done
This
painting
is,
and
this is
cleaning.
what Neil was concerned about
Yeah,
doing. isn't
yeah,
it?
And he wanted us to
indicated
do
we're
it this
overdue.
year. We said, because of the time schedule, that it wasn't really due till next year, the 10 years. And that it should be in next year's budget. But in terms of getting on Dixon's schedule, we probably need to move forward with it sooner rather than later. If you need a hard copy of this, we could delay it until the October meeting, but I don't see how this is going to really change anything one way or the other. In terms of competitive bidding, there's only a couple of companies in our locale that do this type of work.
yep,
And we've had Dixon do, I think, the last 2 or 3 cycles of the maintenance. So while they're one of the oligopoly players in town, I think at some point we need to move forward, whether we do that tonight or if we do it October 7th or whatever. I don't see any advantage in waiting, but if you need to see a hard copy, then it would be appropriate for us to wait until the October meeting.
as long as it gets on the schedule, I'm fine with, waiting as long as we need to wait. I just don't want it to get dropped.
Well, if it needs to be done and it's one of the only providers of this service and it's really required, I think it makes sense to move forward.
Is that a motion?
That didn't sound like a motion, but.
You can have a redo.
Okay, I move that we move forward with the proposal by Dixon to do maintenance, required maintenance on the water tower.
The proposal for 37,300?
Yes. That's exactly what I thought.
That's what he said.
I'll
Is there a
support
second to
that.
that motion? I'll support it. Okay, thank you, John. Further discussion? Ted, is there anything you need to add to this discussion?
I do not. They are the Dixon's the guys that do most of the inspections, internal inspections for most communities in the state, so. A company like us could do the plans and specs, but we like the observation, we wouldn't touch, so. I think that's true for most engineering firms as well.
Other comments or questions?
In Dexter, we use Dixon.
Okay, roll call, Jess.
Aye.
Tony? Aye.
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 Motion carries. Public participation.
Anyone on Zoom like to speak, please raise your Zoom hand.
See none.
I'm looking for another motion.
I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Those in favor